I spent 13 years financially supporting my brother, contributing over $500,000. After he married, he told me his wife didn't want me there. I didn't argue. I let the expenses continue, then I ended it all. Can you believe your own brother, the one you practically raised, would publicly call you pathetic on his wedding livestream? Well, mine did. And let me tell you that right there was the very second my entire world and his fractured beyond repair. The stale air of this Chicago hotel room usually gets to me, but not today. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, my iPad propped against a lamp, and there's this knot of dread tightening in my stomach. A message had just popped up from Jessica, a college friend I haven't spoken to in 3 years. It just read, "Paige, you need to see this." Part of me screamed to just ignore it, to throw my phone across the room. But I couldn't. The live stream buffered, those little circles spinning, and then it sharpened. There it was. A wedding reception. String lights strung around oak trees. A Napa Valley vineyard bathed in that perfect golden hour glow. You know, the kind influencers kill for. And right in the center, Mackenzie Miller Patterson, Caleb's new wife, in a strapless white dress, champagne flute held high, grinning at the camera with that practiced, intimate look she uses for her thousands of followers. "Hey besties," she chirped, her voice sickeningly sweet. "Thanks for all the love and support. But this wedding is officially a toxic-free zone." Laughter erupted off-screen. She leaned closer to the lens, dropping her voice to a stage whisper meant for the masses. "We're scrubbing the old negative energy from our lives. No more guilt trips. No more conditional love." The camera panned left and there he was. Caleb. My brother. My 27-year-old brother. Tie already loosened, shirt rumpled like he'd slept in it, raising his own glass. "Yeah, the ATM is broken," he slurred a little, but then he added, "But we got the cash out first." High fives all around. The wedding party roared. My breath hitched sharp like touching ice. Then it solidified. I set the iPad down carefully, deliberately. My laptop was right there on the desk, power cord coiled neatly. My fingers moved on autopilot. Password autofilled. 3 clicks and there it was. A file I'd built 2 years ago during a sleepless night after Caleb's third failed business venture. Asset Revocation Protocol XLSX. Row after row of meticulous entries. My condo's guest residency agreement. Signed in November 2022. The Ford Raptor's registration. Quietly transferred to my company's fleet in December 2023. His credit card account number and authorized user status. Active since 2020. Every single asset Caleb used cataloged. Dates, dollar amounts. 5 years of me enabling him, documented in Times New Roman size 11. My cursor hovered over the red highlighted cell at the bottom. Execute Y/N. I froze. 30 seconds ticked by. My hand started to tremble. That tremor, it pulled me back 13 years. I'm 22, sitting in a hospital corridor. It smelled like disinfectant and the particular, suffocating hopelessness of an oncology ward. Caleb was 14, all awkward elbows and knees, his face blotchy from crying. Through the window of room 347, our mother's chest rose and fell with the rhythmic hiss of a ventilator. The doctor had used the word minutes when he spoke to me. Mom's eyes found mine through the glass. Somehow, despite the breathing tube, despite the morphine, she gestured me closer. I pushed through the door. Her hand squeezed mine, surprisingly strong. She couldn't speak, but she pulled me down close enough that I could hear her, barely audible over the machine's rhythm. "Promise me, always take care of him. He's still just a boy." I nodded, tears streaming hot down my face. "I promise, Mom. I promise." That promise became my chain. Every single bad business idea. Every failed relationship. Every single rent check I covered. Every loan I forgave. Every midnight phone call about another crisis. Always taking care of him. The live stream was still playing on the iPad. I forced myself to watch. Mackenzie's voice cut through again, sharper now, playing to her audience of strangers who thought they knew her. And honestly, it's pathetic how she tries to act like a mother. She's just a lonely spinster with a checkbook. The camera caught Caleb, my brother, nodding enthusiastically. Not even a flicker of discomfort. "For real," he agreed. "My sister thinks money equals love. It's sad." The comment section scrolled by. Hundreds of heart emojis, laughing faces, Strangers celebrating my humiliation like it was entertainment. The word pathetic echoed in my head. Not the theft. Not the lies. The casual gut-wrenching dismissal of 13 years of my life. My sacrifice, my promise, branded as pathetic. Something just crystallized inside my chest. Cold. Final. I didn't close the Excel file. Instead, I updated it. New column. Execution date. New row. Evidence. Wedding live stream. I screenshotted Mackenzie's declarations. Caleb's laughter. The timestamp read 9:47 p.m., November 23rd. Then I opened my texts. Found Arthur Wagner's contact. My family estate attorney. 60-something, sharper than most men half his age. My fingers now steady typed. Are you watching this? We need to talk tonight. 3 dots appeared immediately. Arthur's reply. Already downloaded the video. I'll have preliminary options ready by 9 a.m. I looked at the execute button one more time. Not yet. I needed to be strategic. This wasn't about revenge. This was surgery. Cutting out the infection before it spread further. I closed the laptop, lay back on the hotel bed, and stared at the ceiling where a water stain had formed in the shape of something vaguely like a cloud. For the first time in 13 years, guilt didn't flood in to fill the silence. Only clarity. The next morning, Arthur Wagner's voice on the phone was grim. It was 7:03 a.m., and not his usual measured attorney tone. Something darker. Paige, he said. The live stream is bad, but there's more. I sat up, still dressed from last night. The curtains were drawn, but light bled through the edges. My phone felt heavy. What do you mean? I asked, my stomach tightening. Arthur exhaled slowly, the sound crackling through the speaker. I accessed your condo security footage remotely. You gave me admin access last year. Remember? My stomach dropped. The coffee I'd ordered sat untouched, steam curling into nothing. 3 days ago, 11:47 p.m. Caleb entered your unit. I gave him a key for emergencies, I whispered. This wasn't an emergency. He went straight to the display cabinet in your living room, Arthur continued. The one with your father's vintage Rolex. The words hung in the air. I could hear Arthur breathing, waiting. Arthur, tell me he didn't. He broke the lock. Took the watch. I'm sending you the footage now. The video loaded on my phone. Black and white. Timestamp. November 20th, 11:47 p.m. Caleb, alone in my living room, moving with purpose. He pulled a screwdriver from his jacket. The antique display cabinet, the one I inherited from Dad's estate, had a small decorative lock. Caleb pried it open in 30 seconds flat. His movements were quick. Practiced. This wasn't spontaneous. He pocketed the watch, glanced around my apartment like he was checking for witnesses, then left. Total time, 4 minutes. I watched it twice. The second time I noticed his expression. Focused, determined. Not guilty. Not conflicted. Just efficient. Arthur's email arrived with attachments. I opened the first one. Screenshot from yesterday's live stream. Zoomed in. Enhanced. There on Caleb's left wrist. Unmistakable. Even in the blurry wedding reception lighting. Our father's 1963 Rolex Submariner. He was wearing it. On a live stream. With thousands of viewers. It wasn't just theft. It was arrogance. He thought I wasn't watching. Or worse, he thought I was so desperate to keep the peace that I wouldn't dare call him out publicly for wearing Dad's watch. He was betting on my silence. That watch, the one I was going to give Caleb on his 30th birthday when he'd finally proven he was ready for the responsibility. The watch worth $45,000. The only physical object I had left of my father. Stolen. I stood up, paced the hotel room. The carpet was industrial grade, designed to withstand thousands of guests who didn't care about it. My bare feet made no sound. Something fundamental shifted inside me. This wasn't sibling rivalry. This wasn't even entitlement. This was theft. Premeditated. Calculated. That pathetic insult wasn't a drunken slip. It was strategic cover. Make me the villain so nobody questions why Caleb's wearing a watch that isn't his. Paint me as controlling, pathetic, conditional. Then, when someone noticed the Rolex, he could say I gave it to him, that I'm just bitter about his happiness. I started thinking like a CFO. What's the ROI on continued support? What are the opportunity costs of emotional investment in someone who views me as an ATM? The answer was clear. I've been funding my own exploitation. Sarah Jenkins answered on the first ring. Paige, everything okay? My executive assistant's voice was warm with concern. Sarah had worked for me for 6 years. She knew my work voice, my stressed voice, my exhausted voice. This was something new. No, I said, my voice flat. But it will be. I need you to pull together documentation. Everything. For the next 20 minutes we outlined operation. Cut the cord. 3 pillars: housing. Caleb's guest residency at the condo was never formalized. It's a revocable license, Arthur confirmed. No lease. No tenant rights. Transport. The Ford Raptor was registered to my company as a business vehicle. Fleet asset. When I bought it, I told him the company title was for insurance benefits. He signed the transfer paperwork 2 years ago without even reading the header. Too happy about the keys to ask questions. Finances. The credit card is an authorized user account. My name on the primary. Caleb's spending privileges exist only because I allow them. Sarah's typing was audible through the phone. Rapid clicks that sounded like ammunition loading. I'm creating a folder now. When do you want to execute? I looked at the security footage still frozen on my screen. Caleb's hand reaching into the cabinet, taking something that wasn't his. Start with the condo termination notice. I want it delivered today. Later that day by 4 p.m. Austin time the email was sent. I drafted it myself at my office desk, keeping the tone professional. Cold. Legal. Dear Condo Management, I am formally terminating the guest residency agreement for Unit 847. Effective immediately. Caleb Patterson is no longer authorized to access the premises. Please update key fob access and notify security. I will arrange property retrieval within 48 hours. Best regards, Paige Patterson. I hovered over send for 15 seconds. This was my brother, the boy I raised, the teenager I drove to school every morning while working full-time and finishing my MBA at night. The young man I bailed out of 3 failed startups, always telling myself the next one would be different. My finger pressed down. The email whooshed into the void. I opened my bottom desk drawer at the office. Pulled out the framed photo from Caleb's high school graduation. He was grinning, arm around my shoulders, eyes bright with possibility. 17 years old and convinced the world owed him something. I traced his face with one finger, then set the frame face down in the drawer. When the tears came, I let them fall silently. The office was empty. Everyone went home hours ago. I cried for the brother I thought I had. The one who would have called me before the wedding, asked my blessing, included me in his happiness. I cried for the promise I made to Mom, the chain I'd worn for 13 years. I cried because winning hurt. But I didn't stop. Mackenzie noticed immediately. Day 3 of their honeymoon. She was scrolling through Instagram while Caleb snored beside her in the Napa Valley Resort. His breath stale with last night's champagne. 0 likes from Paige. 0 congratulatory texts. No comments whatsoever. Her influencer instincts pricked. Engagement metrics matter, sure, but family silence meant something else entirely. She nudged Caleb awake. Babe, your sister's ghosting us. Caleb groaned, fumbled for his phone, squinted at the screen. Weird. Maybe she's just busy. Mackenzie's eyes narrowed. She sat up, pulling the sheet around her. Or maybe she's planning something. We pushed hard with that live stream. What if she cuts us off? Caleb sat up now, suddenly alert. The unspoken fear hung between them. The money could actually stop. Mackenzie's mind raced with influencer logic. Offense is the best defense. We need to control the narrative before she does. By 9 that night, Mackenzie's new TikTok was live. She'd perfected the concerned victim aesthetic. Minimal makeup, messy bun, sitting on the hotel bed in a tank top. The lighting cast soft shadows, making her look vulnerable. Hey everyone, I need to share something really hard. Deep breath. Her eyes glistened though no tears actually fell. My sister-in-law is trying to ruin my wedding. Not just emotionally, financially. She detailed a fabricated story. Paige allegedly promised to pay for the wedding, then withdrew support at the last minute. We had to max out credit cards because she wanted to punish Caleb for marrying me. She's always been controlling, but this is a new low. The kicker? She tagged my company, showed the logo on screen, mentioned the name clearly. Patterson Logistics, Austin, Texas. I just think people should know what kind of person runs your supply chains. The comments exploded within minutes. Hearts, crying faces, outrage on her behalf. Within 2 hours, 47,000 views. My phone rang at 6:47 the next morning. It was Marcus Thornton, my CEO. Marcus is usually calm, measured in his speech, but today his voice was tight. Paige, the board is asking questions. My stomach clenched. I was still in my kitchen, coffee untouched, staring at the mug like it might offer answers. I'm aware of the TikTok, Marcus. It's fabricated. The truth doesn't matter right now. The optics do. We are 2 weeks away from the merger announcement. Our Google reviews are being carpet-bombed. 23 one-star ratings in the last hour, all mentioning you by name. I closed my eyes. The kitchen felt too bright suddenly, the morning sun cutting through the windows like an accusation. What do you need from me? Marcus's tone hardened. I can't have your family drama trending while we're trying to close $1 billion deal. Fix this quietly today, or we'll have to discuss if you're the right face for this merger. The line went dead. I sat in my kitchen, coffee going cold, realizing this wasn't just drama anymore. It was an existential threat to my career. Everything I'd built for 13 years, threatened by lies told in a hotel room for internet points. I almost broke. I opened my contacts, scrolled to Caleb's name. My thumb hovered over call. I could fix this with one conversation. Apologize for things I didn't do. Promise to keep funding their lifestyle. Restore peace. Make it all go away. My fatal flaw whispered, "You promised, Mom. You're supposed to take care of him." The phone nearly touched my ear. Then Sarah's voice cut through from the doorway. "Don't." I looked up, startled. Sarah walked over, letting herself in with the spare key I gave her years ago. She was still in her gym clothes, face flushed from her morning run. She gently took the phone from my hand. "They're bullying you because they think you're weak. Because you've always backed down. You need to show them you're the shark, not the bait." I stared at my assistant Sarah, who'd worked for me for 6 years. Sarah, who'd never seen me cry until this week. Sarah, who'd witnessed every spreadsheet, every late-night work session, every sacrifice. What if I'm not a shark? The words came out as a whisper. Sarah sat down across from me at the kitchen table. You built a CFO career by 35 in a male-dominated field. You manage $400 million in annual logistics contracts. You rebuilt this company's entire financial infrastructure in 2 years. You are a shark. You've just been pretending to be a goldfish for your family. The words landed like a slap. Physical. Sharp. I wiped tears with the back of my hand. Sat up straighter. My spine realigned vertebra by vertebra. I need to let them overextend themselves. Sarah nodded. Exactly. Let them think they're winning. I called Arthur Wagner 10 minutes later. Don't shut down the credit card yet. Arthur paused on the other end. Paige, every day that card is active costs you. I know, I said, a new cold resolve in my voice, but I have an idea. They think attacking me publicly gives them leverage. Let's give them rope. I outlined the plan. Keep the card active but start documenting every single charge. Create a paper trail that shows Caleb's spending patterns. Most importantly, get written confirmation that he acknowledges the debt. Arthur was silent for a long moment. You're setting a trap. I'm creating evidence. There's a difference. That night I couldn't sleep. At 2:34 a.m., my phone buzzed on the nightstand. Credit card alert. $2,847.63 charged at Napa Valley Resort and Spa. Presidential suite upgrade. I should have been angry. Instead, I smiled in the darkness. I screenshotted the notification with steady fingers. Filed it in a folder labeled Evidence. Financial. Let them feast. Every charge is another link in the chain. I drafted the email at 6 a.m. on day 5 of their honeymoon. My coffee sat untouched beside my laptop, going cold while I polished every word until it gleamed with false defeat. Caleb and Mackenzie, I saw the TikTok videos. I understand you're angry with me, but please, this is affecting my job. My CEO called yesterday. Our company reviews are being destroyed. I can't afford to lose my career over a family misunderstanding. I've unlocked the credit card limit. Enjoy the rest of your honeymoon without restrictions. When you get back to Austin, let's sit down and talk like adults. I'm sorry for whatever I did to make you feel unsupported. Love, Paige. I read it 3 times. Made it sound even more desperate. Added a line break that suggested I was writing through tears. Then I hovered my cursor over the send button. This was the moment Arthur warned me about last night. Once you bait the trap, there's no taking it back, he'd said. His voice grave with the weight of legal consequences. They'll spend everything they can. Good. I hit send. The email whooshed into the void. The bait was in the water. 3,000 miles away in Napa Valley, Caleb's phone chimed during breakfast. I could picture it perfectly. He'd be hungover, probably wearing yesterday's shirt, reaching for his phone with one hand while shoveling overpriced food into his mouth with the other. I was right. Mackenzie posted a screenshot to her Instagram story 40 minutes later. I saw it because I'd created a burner account just to monitor their feeds. The image showed Caleb's phone screen with my email displayed, and Mackenzie's caption read, "When you stand your ground and they finally respect your boundaries. Toxic family no more." The comments flooded in immediately. "So proud of you. You deserve this, queen." I screenshotted everything. Filed it in the folder labeled, Evidence. Social media. The folder was getting thick. By noon the first charge hit. $5,247. Napa Valley Wine Collective. The descriptor noted private tasting party of 8 people. Neither Caleb nor Mackenzie had 8 friends combined, which meant they were buying affection from strangers now. Performing generosity with my money to people who'd forget their names by tomorrow. I forwarded the transaction to Martin Reynolds, my accountant, with the subject line, Evidence for Form 1099-C. Martin called within 10 minutes. "Paige, are you absolutely certain about this strategy? The tax implications for Caleb will be severe." "That's the point, Martin." I kept my voice level professional. "Prepare the documentation. I want everything legally airtight. You're talking about a massive cancellation of debt. The IRS will treat that as income. He'll owe taxes on money he doesn't have." "I know exactly what I'm doing, Martin." I heard his keyboard clicking. He was already working. "You're more ruthless than most of my corporate clients. I learned from the best." The charges came in waves after that. Day 6. $12,500. Presidential suite upgrade for the remaining nights. Another $3,400 at Gucci. The descriptor made me laugh bitterly. Wedding recovery wardrobe. $8,900 for a couple's spa package. Hot stone massages. Gold facials. Services I'd never indulged in because I was too busy funding Caleb's life. Day 7, $6,200. The French Laundry. Michelin 3-star restaurant. Mackenzie filmed the entire meal for her followers, and I watched every video. She held up a glass of wine that cost more than most people's car payments. Living our best lives now that the toxic energy is cleared. Caleb appeared in the frame toast. "To boundaries," he slurred slightly. "And to sisters who finally learned their place." Learned their place. My hand clenched around my phone so hard the case creaked. Sarah walked past my office, saw the notifications lighting up my screen, and winced. "That's over $36,000 in 3 days, Paige." I didn't look up. "That's just the tip of the iceberg." I switched tabs to the master spreadsheet. Cumulative support 2018 to 2023. I input the honeymoon total into the final row. Then I ran the sum formula, combining 5 years of covered rent, business bailouts, paid-off credit cards, and legal fees with this week's binge. The number climbed. $538,429.18. "Are you okay?" Sarah asked quietly. "I'm fine." The lie came easily now. Another charge appeared while she was standing there. $2,100. Napa Valley hot air balloon tours. I added it to the spreadsheet. The cursor blinked in the cell next to the growing total. Sarah lingered in my doorway. "You know you can still stop this, right? Cancel the card. Cut them off now." "No." I saved the file with deliberate precision. "They need to think they're winning. Let them gorge themselves." She left without another word. On the afternoon of day 7, I sent one final email. I crafted it during my lunch break, eating a protein bar at my desk while legal language flowed from my fingertips. Caleb, just to be clear, for my accounting records, you acknowledge that all charges on the card during your honeymoon, November 20th to November 27th, are your personal expenses and your responsibility to handle going forward. Please confirm receipt of this email. Best page. Professional. Bureaucratic. The kind of email he'd seen me send 1,000 times to vendors and contractors. His response came back in 4 minutes. Yeah, whatever, old general. Just pay the bill like you always do. I read it once, twice, 3 times. Screenshot. Forwarded to Arthur Wagner with one word. Gotcha. Arthur's reply was immediate. That's written acknowledgement of debt responsibility combined with your forgiveness documentation. This is legally bulletproof. Well played. I should have felt triumphant. Instead, I felt empty. I closed my laptop, poured myself a single glass of bourbon from the bottle I kept in my bottom desk drawer for emergencies. The liquid burned, going down, warm and clarifying. The office was empty now. Everyone else went home hours ago, just me and the cleaning crew and the hum of the HVAC system. I whispered into the silence. The trap is armed. My phone buzzed one more time. Another Instagram story from Mackenzie. She was holding up a designer shopping bag, grinning at the camera. When you marry up and your new family finally recognizes your worth. I didn't screenshot this one. I'd seen enough. Tomorrow they'd fly home. Tomorrow the trap would spring shut. Tomorrow Caleb would discover what happens when you mistake patience for weakness. But tonight, I sat alone in my office and finished my bourbon. The city lights of Austin glowed through my window. Somewhere out there, my brother was celebrating his victory. He had no idea he'd already lost. Day 8. 4:47 p.m. Austin Bergstrom International. I wasn't on the flight. I didn't drive to the terminal. Instead, I was sitting in my rental, a sensible anonymous Honda Accord, parked in the short-term garage, level 3, section B. I watched the elevator bank through my polarized sunglasses. The doors slid open. Caleb strode out first, dragging 2 designer suitcases I recognized from their shopping spree. $1,200 at the Napa Valley Outlet Mall, charged to the card I was about to obliterate. Mackenzie trailed behind him, wearing oversized sunglasses despite being indoors, nursing what had to be her 3rd hangover in as many days. She was tapping furiously on her phone. I think we got at least 4 sponsored posts out of this trip, I imagined her saying. They headed straight for the spot where Caleb always parked the Ford Raptor. Always parked. Past tense now. I checked my mirrors. My rental was tinted, nondescript. They wouldn't look twice at a gray sedan. Caleb stopped walking so abruptly that Mackenzie nearly collided with his rolling suitcase. What the hell? He circled the empty space like the truck might materialize if he just looked hard enough. Checked his phone. No tow notifications. No missed calls. The confusion on his face would be funny if my chest didn't feel so tight. A security officer approached, tablet in hand. Can I help you folks? Caleb stammered. Actually stammered. My truck, Ford Raptor Black, was parked right here. The officer tapped his screen. License plate. Caleb provided it. I'd memorized that number. The officer's expression shifted to professional neutrality. Sir, that vehicle was repossessed 3 days ago by Patterson Logistics. Said it was company property being returned to fleet. Mackenzie's face drained of color so fast I could see it from 50 feet away. Repossessed? But Paige said. The officer shrugged. I just scanned tags. You'll need to contact the company. They took an Uber. $67 to downtown. I know because I was watching the charge appear on Caleb's personal debit card through the financial monitoring Arthur set up. His account balance. $347.82. 3 days ago it was $1,200. Napa Valley had burned through cash faster than he could track. I gave them a 10-minute head start, then drove to my downtown office. I pulled up the condo security feed on my monitor. The camera angle captured the entrance perfectly. Caleb punched his code into the entry system. The panel flashed red. Access denied. He tried again. Same result. Caleb, what's happening? Mackenzie's voice climbed into a register that set my teeth on edge, even through the monitor speakers. Mr. Rodriguez emerged from the lobby, an envelope in his weathered hands. I'd spoken with him this morning. Guest residency terminated. No drama necessary, just procedure. He approached them. Mr. Patterson, I was instructed to give you this. Caleb ripped the envelope open. I watched his eyes scan the letterhead. Wilson and Associates Property Management. Dear Mr. Patterson, your guest residency agreement for Unit 847 has been terminated. Effective November 24th. You are no longer authorized to access the building. Personal belongings have been placed in storage unit number 412 at Secure Store Austin. Retrieval instructions enclosed. His hand shook, a visible tremor even on the grainy feed. He pulled out his phone. Called me. I watched it ring on my desk, my name flashing on his screen. Let it go to voicemail. He tried again. Voicemail. Third attempt. His voice cracked through the audio. Paige, what the F asterisk CK? Call me back now. Mackenzie was scrolling frantically through her phone. Babe, look at this. She showed him something. I already knew what it was because Martin had sent me the confirmation 20 minutes ago. Time to arrive precisely when they'd be back in cell range. Subject. Important tax document. Form 1099-C. Caleb opened it. His face went slack. He didn't understand tax law. Never had to. Mackenzie did. Oh my God, she whispered, her voice trembling with genuine panic. Caleb, this isn't a bill. It's worse. What? What is it? She shoved the phone in his face. It's a cancellation of debt form. She's not just cutting you off. She's reporting all that money she forgave as income to the IRS. You owe taxes on $500,000, Caleb. We're talking like $150,000 in taxes we have to pay now. I watched him process this. It happened in stages. Confusion. Disbelief. Dawning horror. The unlocked credit card? Not a peace offering. The accounting records email? Not bureaucracy. My silence? Not sulking. All those years of support documented. Their honeymoon binge confirmed in writing when he replied, Yeah, whatever, old general. Gifts reclassified as forgiven debt. $538,429.18. Legally airtight. Financially devastating. Mackenzie's shriek cut through the audio feed. You said she always caves. You said she's weak. She is. Caleb's voice broke. This is insane. She wouldn't actually. She did. Caleb, we're homeless. You owe the IRS a fortune. Your truck is gone. Other residents were staring now. Mr. Rodriguez gently suggested they leave the lobby. Mackenzie rounded on Caleb with pure fury. I married you because you said your sister was rich and generous. You said we'd never have to worry about money. You lied to me. She stormed toward the street, heels clicking a violent rhythm against the marble. Caleb chased after her. Mackenzie, wait. We can fix this. We? There is no we anymore. I'm calling my mom. I'm going home. You figure out your own mess. She was already pulling out her phone, thumb jabbing at the screen. An Uber arrived in under 3 minutes. She got in without looking back. Caleb stood alone on the sidewalk. Designer luggage scattered around him like debris from a shipwreck. He watched her disappear. I watched him. I waited for something to surface. Satisfaction. Guilt. Triumph. Pain. Nothing came. Just the quiet relief of surgery successfully completed. The tumor was removed. The patient would survive. I closed the security feed, returned to my quarterly budget review. The numbers demanded attention. Unlike family, they made sense. 3 days later, Sarah buzzed my office intercom. Her voice carried that particular tension she gets when something's wrong but she's trying to stay professional. Paige, Austin PD on line 2. I set down my pen. The quarterly budget review spreadsheet blurred on my monitor. Transfer it through. Officer Martinez introduced himself with the practiced calm of someone who makes these calls regularly. Caleb Patterson was arrested at your condo building. Criminal trespass. Resisting arrest. He tried forcing his way past Mr. Rodriguez in the lobby, shouting that it was his home, scaring elderly residents. He became combative when security intervened. Bail was set at $5,000. I closed my eyes, pictured Caleb in jail, Probably still wearing those wrinkled designer clothes from the honeymoon. Probably confused about how he ended up here. Does he have anyone else to call, ma'am? The question hung in the air between us. I knew the answer. Mackenzie blocked his number the day they got back. Our parents were 13 years gone. I was it. I'd always been it. I'll handle it, I said and disconnected. The automated jail call came at 2:14 p.m. My phone vibrated on the desk. Travis County Correctional Facility flashed on the screen. I stared at it through 6 rings, almost let it go to voicemail. On the 7th ring I answered. Paige, Caleb's voice cracked. Small. Broken. Nothing like the confident man toasting with expensive wine 3 days ago. Please. I know I don't deserve help, but I'm scared. I just need bail. I'll pay you back. I swear. Please don't leave me in here. My office was silent, except for the distant hum of the air conditioning. Through my window, Austin stretched out in afternoon sunlight. Somewhere down there my brother sat in a cell, waiting for me to save him one more time. I closed my eyes, saw 13-year-old Caleb crying at Mom's funeral, his hand gripping mine so hard it left marks. But then I saw the wedding live stream, the stolen Rolex on his wrist, the casual cruelty in his voice when he called me pathetic. I'll post bail, Caleb. The words surprised even me with their steadiness. But not because I owe you anything. Because I want peace, and this gives me leverage to ensure you never contact me again. He started to protest. I hung up before he could finish the sentence. The electronic payment took 90 seconds. $5,000 transferred to Travis County. I didn't drive to the jail. Instead, I texted Arthur Wagner with instructions. Meet Caleb at release. Bring the no-contact agreement we drafted last week. Arthur's response at 6:32 p.m. was brief. He signed. Cried the whole time. Asked if you were coming. I told him no. I read the message twice. Then I opened my contacts, scrolled to Caleb's name, and blocked the number. Done. 6 months later, Singapore's morning light reflects off Marina Bay outside my corner office window. The humidity here is different from Texas. Heavier, more insistent. I've grown to like it. The Patterson Young Entrepreneurs Scholarship application spread across my desk. 50 applicants. I've narrowed it to 3 finalists. The fund holds $50,000. It's not money recovered from Caleb. That debt is gone, turned into a tax burden for him. This is money generated from the sale of the repossessed Ford Raptor, and the savings I've accumulated simply by closing the bank of Paige for 6 months. One application catches my attention. Maya Torres, 19, first-generation college student. Her business plan outlines affordable childcare cooperatives. The essay mentions raising younger siblings after their mother died. The parallel makes me pause, but Maya's approach is different. She's building something sustainable, not enabling dependency, not sacrificing herself on an altar of guilt and obligation. I approve the scholarship. Add a personal note in the margin. Your siblings are lucky to have someone who empowers them rather than controls them. Congratulations. That evening I sit on my apartment balcony. Singapore's skyline glitters against the darkening sky. My phone buzzes with an email notification from Caleb's old address. Subject: Please read. Need help. Preview page. I know I signed the paper, but I'm really struggling. I just need a small loan to get started. I don't open it. A second later, another notification. Delivery failure. Recipient not found. I deleted that email alias yesterday. The message bounced into the void, unread, unanswered. I checked my wrist. My father's vintage Rolex, recovered from the police evidence locker after Caleb's arrest, gleams under the city lights. The weight of it feels different now. Not like a burden. Like an inheritance earned. I sip my wine, watch the lights pulse and shimmer across the water. For the first time in 13 years, the silence isn't lonely. It's clear. It's mine. So tell me, have you ever had to draw a hard line with family, even when it broke your heart? Or found yourself in a situation where you realized enabling someone was doing more harm than good? What would you have done in my shoes? I'm honestly curious to hear your thoughts down in the comments.